Everyone, welcome to another episode of The Mogabr Show. My name's Gabe, as always. With me, I have a very special guest, Cindy Fossouo. She is the CEO and founder of San Francisco-based Information Systems Builder. Her goal is to make sure that startup founders and startups in general meet their goal of being able to market and brand their product, platform, services to their ideal customer. And I'm excited to talk to her because we've all heard podcasts about how to attract the best customer, how to get out there, how to blow up big, go viral, whatever this is. But those are just buzzwords. We don't actually have concrete plans. We're talking to someone who actually makes those plans with founders and helps them out. Cindy, thank you for joining me and welcome to the show.
Hi, Gabe. Thank you for having me.
Likewise, likewise. I'm very excited to talk to you because most CEOs and founders start their own tech company. You sort of went a different way, which for the record, just the fact that you are, San Francisco based, so you're in Silicon Valley and you are a woman CEO and founder is something to be applauded and something that everyone should celebrate because there should be more people like you actually doing this. But what I really like about it is that you went a different way. Whereas people want to create, we see it now, people are creating the new Twitter. There's a new Twitter popping up every other week. Um, you decided to focus your services on how to help those founders as opposed to you coming up with a software yourself. What attracted you to that side of the business?
That is a great question. Yes. So I started out being a founder. I created another company outside of Information Systems Builder, and I had a really hard time just marketing and branding my company. I mean, imagine you're a founder and no one knows your products, no one knows your company, no one knows you. You don't have a brand personally. Your company's
Mhm.
a new company. No one knows the company. And I said, wow, is does other founder just struggle with the same problem? Do they have this problem of, I have a great product, I know my idea is amazing, and I know it would help so many people, and there's a problem there that I could solve, but my branding is, I don't know where to start my marketing. And I have a lot of tech founders friends that have the same problem. I have family members that are founders, not tech founders, but they're founders, and they had the same problem. And I said, "Wow, I'm not alone." So I went to school for marketing, and I said, I really want to help tech startups because I feel like they need that the most, because we're in San Francisco and tech startups are, like you said, Gabe, like we are there's a new company, there's a company getting created right now, right? Thousands of them. And imagine being in a field where it's so crowded. You have tech companies that are I mean, imagine competing with which you can, but imagine competing with someone like Amazon and Facebook. They already have a brand. So if Mark Zuckerberg comes out with a new company, he doesn't really need to work on his brand because he already has that, right? So imagine nobody in San Francisco, and he has this crazy idea, and he says, "You know what? I think I'm better than Facebook." But he doesn't know how to brand this. He doesn't know how to connect with his target audience. He doesn't know what niche do I need to focus on. And a lot of people always ask me, "Why did you just focus on startups? Why not just everyone?" Right? And
Mhm.
I always say, and I always say this to my clients too, you want to start with the niche. You want to make sure that you connect with specific type of people first before going with the broad, right? So, and I knew that startups needed help the most because not only are they competing with big tech companies, but they're also competing with the ones that are getting created by the day.
That's amazing, and that's so awesome that you had that insight. Because a lot of people they want to go the traditional founder route, because they see, everyone has the dreams of IPO dollar signs and, I'm the next billionaire exit or whatever. So I think that's amazing. That's great for you. And I hope that people watching this, listening to this are paying attention and see that there's more than one way to sort of be in your own business, be in your own space, and create something that's sort of, to your point, something niche and, something that's very much needed. You're solving a problem that a lot of people have. So that's
Mhm.
awesome. What's been the biggest challenge in most startups? Like what do you see as like the main roadblock when you come in? I'm a founder. You come in, you say, Gabe, this is what you're doing wrong. What's the biggest challenge?
Wow, I have a lot. I work with a lot of startups, and I think the main comment they have is they have an amazing product, but it's the brand awareness. It's getting people to you know, um, getting people to know the product, identify with the product. I think that's one thing. I think the second thing is a lot of tech founders are not patient, right? They want the results now. And I always tell, before working with a startup, I say, this is not a one night thing, right? This is a process. So I think what they're not, because when you're a tech founder is you just build a product that you want, and it's just it's gonna work. But with with branding and marketing, you just have to, there's a lot of steps to do, right? So I think biggest one I would say what is brand awareness, where a tech founder will come to me and he has this amazing idea, and I said, I'm like, you're such a genius, like I love this, like this is a great idea, but no one knows him, right? Or he's just, I think of, I don't want to say a name, but I was working with a tech founder, and I had to tell him, I don't think you should be the CEO of the company, because um, he's not someone that is, he's very shy. He's not someone that would go to events and meet other people, network, right? He is the builder, right? He knows his product. He knows how to pitch to investors, but he's not, a CEO has to go out there and, talk about the company and what do you do and stuff like that. And I had to tell him, are you thinking of, maybe getting a CEO, right? And he was like, you know what, you're right. I don't think I could, I'm more of the builder, I'm more of the background person. And so I think sometimes when, especially when you're starting out your your company, it's, you just have to be open for criticism. You just have to be open for new ideas, right? And some tech founders are, I know it all. Like, you cannot tell me anything. Like, this is my product and I'm telling you it's great. And if you tell me, oh, did you think of maybe doing this? They're like, no, absolutely not. So
I
I think
think
those are
I love that. One of the themes of most of my shows is brutal honesty. And,
the.
a lot of times when founders, startups hire someone like yourself or any vendor that they bring on to help them with whatever it is that they have on, whether it's a one-off project or making a video or something, they get yesed to death. And people are sometimes afraid to be brutally honest because I guess they're afraid of, okay, I don't want to, this could be recurring business or I don't want to miss this opportunity. So I love that brutal honesty from you because the recurring business will be when that founder succeeds and people know that you had a hand in it and now everyone wants to come to you. So I think people need to see the benefit of being brutally honest. And sometimes, whether it's you're saying no or whether it's you're telling the current CEO founder that it's okay to be the founder, but maybe not the CEO. So I think
Mhm.
that's awesome because most people wouldn't know how to say that. Most people would be afraid. I've been in that situation where some people would be like, I don't know how to say this to him. I'm like, just say it, like there's nothing bad that's going to come from it. Even if
Mhm.
it's a short-term anger, but eventually, as long as you say it from a good place. So I love that. I think that's awesome. how do you like, okay, so brand awareness, let's go back to that a little bit. What's How do you advise a founder? Like, who should the founder hire first? Does that mean they need to, like, their first hire, or maybe not the first hire, but does that mean one of their first hires should be a marketing expert, or like what should they do? My company is 2 weeks old. I just incorporated, and I already have a platform that I built in my whatever other spare room, and I just have this great idea. But now I want to get this out there. Who should I look to first? I mean, most people think that brand awareness means social media and just posting about it, relentlessly every single day. But there's obviously more to it than just that. So, what
Mhm.
should I do as a founder coming in and saying, I need to make people aware of my new company?
That's a great question. You're asking amazing questions. Yeah, I love it. A founder that just created his company 2 weeks ago, I would say build your product, right? If the product is already great, I would say not because I'm in branding and marketing, but I would say hire someone, either hire someone in your team or come to someone like information systems builder.
Mhm.
Most startups don't have the money to bring someone full time as a marketing and branding person in their team because they're just starting. But I would say if you have a great product and no one knows about it, it's kind of a waste, right?
Yeah,
It's We don't know about
definitely.
it, right? And like
Definitely.
you said, branding and marketing is just not social media,
Yeah.
right? It's not posting because you could post something on social media, you could have great pictures on social media, but no one still knows about it. So it's more than that, right? It's networking, going to events, knowing, having a plan on who my target audience is. And you would be very surprised. A lot of founders don't know who their target audience is. In terms of, they say, oh, my product would be good for this specific person. But it's like, okay, who though? Like, do you know what they want? Because sometimes you could say, oh, I want to help, or I'm trying to build another Facebook. And is there do we need another Facebook, right? And if even if we don't need another Facebook, what is your plan, right? What is your story? People love a good
Yeah,
story, right?
for sure.
And that's what I would say. I would say sit down. Yes, you have a great product, and yes, you see that this is the problem that you solve is going to help millions of people. But what is your plan when it comes to brand awareness? And like you said, the key is not just social media. There's many factors of that, and I often hear founders say, "Oh, I'll do the marketing by myself," right? And
Mhm.
I say, no, you need a marketing specialist. You need someone to do this for you because, like you said, we can all post on Facebook. We could all just post a picture and get there, but it's not just social media. That's what people don't get. It's more than that.
Nice. No, that's so true, and those so spot on. Um, Another aspect of your job, because you are specifically focusing your services on tech founders. How Because you have a lot of work to do, because you're not just working with one. So you have more work than oftentimes than most of the tech founders you're working with, because where they're only focused on their business, you're focusing on their business, how to help their business grow, but then also on the other businesses that your company is providing services for. So you have, I dare say, a lot more on your plate than most founders, unless they are, running multiple companies, aka Elon Musk. But how how do you stay up to date with the latest trends in technology, so that you can advise them properly? Because part of it is also understanding the technology, and sort of, you need to understand their product, platform, services, so that you can advise them properly. And you have to stay current. You have to stay current on that, stay current on the latest marketing trends, or growth trends. W How do you do that? Like, when do you have the time to actually read anything to stay current with everything that you're doing?
I think it's because I'm passionate about this. So for me, I'm naturally, even if I'm at home and it's my day off, I'm always just reading, right? I want to know. And I always tell founders, you have to be curious. Never not be curious. I always want to know, what is the new thing? What are people loving now? Are people still loving blogs? So I'm still staying current. I'm trying to stay current, always know information. And I think my key is I never know too much. I always tell myself this. When I have meetings with my team, I always want feedback. I say, okay, what do you, I always want to know what people think, because I never
Yeah,
know too much. I always tell myself this. I say, and sometimes when we're working on a project and someone else has a great idea, and I say, you know what, we're going to go with that one. That is a great idea. I didn't think of that, right? Because I want to hear. And often some founders, when they get big, they forget, right? They think they know it all, right? They do not try to ask their audience, what do you want, right? I have a founder that I was working with, and I was helping him with, our team was helping him with a startup, and he told me that because he's someone that builds a company and sells it, and he tells, and I always ask him, I always ask him, you're a great, founder. You just sell these companies for millions of dollars. Like, how do you get these ideas? And he told me, oh, I just go to big companies or small companies, just read the reviews, and I see people complaining, and what they're complaining about, I say, I'm going to solve that problem. And I go, wow, that is a great idea, right? So I think always being curious, what other people's feedback, what are people complaining about? So when I help startups, I always tell them, you have to reach out to your customers, your clients, people using your product. Because often they ignore it, right? They say, oh, this is not working correctly. I don't like this. And they're like, oh, it's fine. They'll get it one day. No, you have to know, do they like this product? How could we better ourselves? So you always have to be hungry. You always have. So I think for me, I'm always looking to stay up to date. I never know too much. I always want to learn. So I think, and shows like yours, I love watching, because I'm like, okay, what are they what were their struggles? When you have founders on your show, what were the struggles? What are they talking about? What is the new thing? AI is the new thing now. I'm like looking through that. So I think I'm always reading, always wanting to learn.
no, that's great. And you touched on AI a little bit. Let's jump into that a little bit, because the last few months since November, when OpenAI rolled out the latest version of ChatGPT, that sort of blew up the internet and most of the known world. Um, AI is not new. It's been around for a while in some variations. Google just announced yesterday Bard, which is its ChatGPT competitor for OpenAI. I forgot, Anthropomorphic, I believe, is the name of the other company that's an AI company. Um, Google is famous for its SEO. Google AdWords, SEO, that's what everyone sort of talks about, focuses on when they're doing their marketing branding. How does AI impact that? How does AI impact your job, if at all, if it does?
Yeah, I think AI is a great thing, right? I think it will definitely shake a lot of things in the industry. But I think AI is a good thing. I think, like, for my company, we're um we're launching a software where it has AI in it, right? It just makes it easy for founders. So I think, like we said, always staying current. And I was our company was looking through AI, and we said, we want to create a software where it has AI because we feel, everyone, it's a little bit more easier for everyone to adapt to. But like you said, I think AI is becoming the new thing that is slowly, getting in there. So, what do you think?
I think AI is going to be such a valuable tool. I'm not one of these doomsdayers or naysayers that think AI is going to take everyone's jobs and replace everybody. I don't believe that, because at the end of the day, like, your company is creating your AI tool, you're creating it. It still requires a human somewhere in the process to bring this to life. ChatGPT, Google's Bard, Anthropomorphics AI, they all require prompts, which are prompted by human beings. So whether it's in the creative field, whether I'm writing a book, or I mean, I think people should be transparent if they do that. But whatever it is that I'm doing, even if it's on the creative side, if I say, "Hey, write me a script so that I can make a podcast about whatever," I'm still prompting it, and I'm still picking and choosing what it is that I say or don't say based off of
Mhm.
my prompt. And you don't have to pick everything that you say. I think it's a tool like any tool. And if you learn to use the tool, it'll make you a more valuable asset to your company, or whatever service you're providing. So I don't think it's going to be the end all be all that some have been saying online. I think it's a tool like most tools, and it's cyclical. It's going to, there's going to be a very high usage of it at first. We've seen that now. Chat gpt is like the fastest to 100 million or something. But it's going to sort of die down at some point. People are going to, ride the wave before it levels out and it goes to where it's going to be. So right now we're on that high. It's brand new. Everybody wants to touch it, play with it, use it, share it online, what they came up with. And then at some point it's going to die down and we're going to go to what will be the normal. So I think there's definitely a place for it. It's not going to be the end all be all, but it's going to be very useful to those that learn how to use it properly. Um,
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think it's going to take over, and there no one is you I mean, you need to train the AI, right? Who trains the AI, right? You
yeah,
need people to train the AI. So, and to train the AI, sometimes it takes years.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
so I think, like you said, I think the hype is a lot right now. I think the AI will be around, but I don't think it will take over. I think it would just be something that is around.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I mean, you think about it, what, 10, maybe 20 years ago, there were travel agents that if you wanted to fly somewhere or book a cruise, you had to go physically to this travel agency um,
Mm.
place or call them on the phone. Now we do everything online. So, or at least most places. I know that some corporations still use a traditional travel agency for, whatever reason.
Mhm.
But it's just it became a tool, and I think we need to look at that, or evolve with it or get left behind. And most people don't want to get left behind, at least not in the tech world. Being obsolete
Mhm.
is probably the biggest insult you could ever receive. So you don't want to be an obsolete technology. Um,
Mhm.
let's go back to the tech and startup world, because you are very much focused on brand awareness, which is helping them grow. So let's talk about growth in a startup. What's more critical? Is it more critical to have culture or to grow? Are they mutually exclusive? Can you have growth while maintaining your culture?
Great question. I think culture is very important. I think culture, I think making sure, I know when I hire people on the team, or I have someone hire someone, I always make sure they know, the problem that we're trying to solve.
Mhm.
Do they, you know, you have to make sure that everyone on your team just gets the problem and wants to solve the problem, right? And I think culture is very important because you guys are making the company grow, right? It's not a one person job. It's not a two person job. So I think culture is very, very important. I think, and something that a lot of founders don't focus on, don't know why. The founders that do focus on it, maybe they had a job prior to starting the 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 um the tech the tech company, and they always knew, oh, the company I was working for, their culture sucked. And if, they had a great culture, maybe, they would have expanded. So I think definitely having a great culture is very important.
No, that's awesome. I couldn't agree more. I think having a culture is what makes or breaks, not only a company, but a team, the individual teams. Because as the companies grow, you have your individual teams that inevitably splinter off into their own worlds, product team, marketing teams, etc. And I think it's really helpful to have that culture at the high level so that it can trickle down to the bottom, because when it sort of evaporates, that culture, that's it. There's really no getting it back. You can try to evolve it into something else, but once you lose that
Exactly.
initial culture, it's
Hmm.
really, really difficult to sort of go
Oh,
back to that, if at all.
absolutely. Hmm. I
So
was Yeah, I was looking at, I watch a lot of documentaries, and I was watching one documentary about Mark Zuckerberg, and his culture was amazing. Very early on, they used to, be in the office hours. They used to play together. I guess they had like a house all together. Their culture was amazing, right? One
yeah,
person said, he loves coming to work every day because, they would have these nights of code, like code night, right? And it would be so fun. So I think culture is very important, especially
yeah,
early on. Like, you just want to make sure that your team is solid, everyone is on board, everyone gets the problem that you're trying to solve, and everyone is just passionate, right? It's not just founder, and I really don't like those names. Oh, CEO, founder, right? We're
yeah.
all in this together. We're all doing this together. I just have the title because I'm just the face of the company. But if we're all together, and if we're all passionate about this problem, and we're trying to solve, it will be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think people don't realize when you go to work, when you make the decision to go to work for a startup, it is a very, very thoughtful decision, and it is an investment of your time. A lot of times people don't realize early stage startups, whether it's pre-seed or series A, you're not going to be paid all that much in terms of salary at first. So you're banking a lot is on those options. Hopefully, as the company grows and more investments come in, they're in later series, you get more, your salary can potentially grow, but you're really banking on, or dedicated to growing the company so that you can get
Mm-hmm.
a return on those stocks, because that is a part of the compensation that you sort of agree to. That's part of the package, health
Hmm.
insurance, et cetera. Then you have your stock options. And,
Hmm.
part of that, the 4-year investment time, but it's just sort of, you put in that time because you know that that's waiting for you at the end in some capacity, whether it's an exit through an IPO or an exit through an acquisition. That that's waiting for you, and the hope is that you can grow. So you're very much a part of it. So it's not just the founder that is solely invested in the company. I know some people think that. It's everyone that starts at an early stage startup. Everyone is completely invested in it, and it's just sort of like,
Hmm.
I this is it. Like, we need to do this. So everybody sort of owns the company and owns the company culture, I feel,
Hmm.
because it's a part of what makes it that much better, is all
Hmm.
the passion behind it from all of the different individuals that are there. So
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. Um, if you were going to start your own company, not this one, like what kind of a company would you want to start?
Oh,
I'm just curious, just random.
pick another one. Yeah. I would say, I mean, dating apps and just, they're very popular now. Like, a lot of people, I read an article that said, um, new, people are getting married from meeting each other online. And I know back in the days, meeting someone online was very,
Yeah.
it was not done, it's like you met the person online, like what? And
Yeah,
now it's so common, it's like,
it
oh yeah, we
is.
met on a dating app, we just went on a coffee date, So I think maybe I would touch on like the dating scene. I don't know if it would be a dating app or anything, but just like the dating, a lot of people, just like the
Yeah,
dating scene. So I think that, or um I really think that helping startups is what people should create, because
yeah,
a lot startups are struggling, right?
yeah,
I think it's not just marketing and branding. There's other stuff that they're struggling with. So I think maybe doing like a dating app for founders and stuff, in terms of, sometimes they're looking for a co-founder. Sometimes they're looking like a
yeah.
networking type of thing. Yeah. Maybe I would.
No, that's pretty cool actually. I do like that. That's awesome. I think that would be a great thing. Something sort of related, but not really related to the founder thing. I came across me several months back. It was this dating app that I thought was really cool. Not I just saw it and it stood out because I'm always looking at some different tech and stuff. And this was a dating app that matched you according with the person's musical taste. So it matched your musical taste. I
Wow.
forgot the name of the app. I got to look it up, but it was really unique, and I sort of like that. I mean, I've been married for a long time now, but if I wasn't married and I was just thinking about it, like when you're in the car and people are fighting over the radio, or you put on a song and she doesn't like the song, or vice versa, it's like, wouldn't it be great to get like the last thing you want to do is take a road trip and nobody likes each other's music? I mean,
Exactly.
so I thought
Yeah.
that was a very, niche idea, and I really like that. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, I forgot the name
That's
of it. I have to
really
look it
cool.
up. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I really liked it. Um,
Yeah. And I
but
also wanted, yeah.
no,
I
sorry, go
also
ahead,
wanted
please.
to add, um, one advice that I would give founders is, because this is one common problem that I see with founders that I work with, is they get a lot of capital, right? VC money, investors, and sometimes when you give out, if when you give, because when you fundraise, you give out equity, right? And sometimes when they give a lot of their equity to VCs and everything, they lose their passion of the problem that they're solving, because a lot of people are on in their ear, right? You need to do
Mhm.
this. We need to we need to IPO. I mean, that's the thing now. It's, if you don't IPO, you're a bust. Your goal is to IPO. And I would tell founders, please just remember why you started a problem. Be passionate about that. And um, don't be too IPO hungry or try to raise money too quick so you can post on LinkedIn, we've raised 200 million, right? Just focus on why you started. I love this story. Mark Zuckerberg actually, they wanted to buy his company at $1 billion, and he said no. I think this is worth more. I mean, and just imagine someone coming to you and saying, "I want to, buy your show at $1 billion," and you say no. I mean, even your mom would be like, "Honey, no," right? And Mark Zuckerberg's like, "No, I think this is worth more. I know I can scale this, and it's worth more than that." Right. And I don't think his company was even making in revenue $1 billion. So imagine turning that down. But because he remembered his passion, and because he remembered of the problem he's trying to solve, and he knows there's a problem there, right? Even though maybe it hasn't peaked to where he wants it, but
Mhm.
he saw his tracking. He said, you know what? I see the future, and I know this is worth not even the money, but just, I know that I can scale this and I can bring this to millions of people to love, and it will be generational. I mean, Facebook is icon. I mean, it's in the books. You cannot rule Facebook out. So I think just remembering that, just like this Mark Zuckerberg, like just remembering that, no, this company is worth more, and this company, I know where I want to go with it,
Mhm.
and I know that I could still do this. So I think for founders, I work with a lot of founders. They want to sell the company fast, or they're not patient enough,
Mhm.
right? It's been 6 months, and I'm not seeing any results. I'll give up. And 6 months, I mean, you're just getting started. Right. So, and Facebook, for them to even get $1 million, it took them, you know, $100 million. It took them some years. So I think just it's not easy being patient. As a founder, I identify with that. Sometimes you get frustrated, but always just remember why you started the company. And when you're getting the VC money, investors' money, just make sure that they're not coming to take over your company. You don't have any say so, or your idea is now their idea, and so just make sure you stay passionate about your idea.
No, absolutely. That is amazing advice and great insight from someone who's been working with a lot of different founders. So thank you so much for that, Cindy. And just putting this out there, anyone wants to buy my show for $1 billion, I'm all yours. Um, just you know, I might
I'm
even
co-signing.
let's go. Um, so, Cindy, I want to thank you for your time and for meeting me. I know it's early your time in California, but I'm thank you. Anything you want to leave people with? I'll put all of your contact information and company link in the show notes. But any last words before we go?
Well, I just want to thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. I think this conversation was was important to have, and I want to say to the listeners, if you have any topics that you feel like we need to talk about, next time, or if you want Gabe to talk about with other founders, please
Yeah.
just comment below, or contact Gabe, and you just,
Here.
below his inbox, his email, and just reach out to his team and say, hey, I want Gabe to talk about this. I think it's amazing. And I think a lot of I'm specifically tech founders and tech startups. Please, if you are struggling with something, definitely reach out to Gabe's teams and say, hey, Gabe needs to talk about this, right? We're struggling with this and we want more advice about this. I think talking about startups and their struggles is very important. A lot of people are just focused on big tech companies, and they don't really care about the startups. They only care about the startups when you raise capital. Oh, this is the new big thing. They've raised $1 million and they're backed by a huge venture capital. And it's, well, what if, there's startups out there that are great, but they're
Mhm.
not backed by venture capital. And
Right.
it's not because they're not great, but it's just that they don't know how to. They don't know how to, get to that level. So definitely helping those people would be, amazing. So yeah, if you're a tech founder or a tech startup and you're struggling, please reach out to Information Systems Builder. We're here for you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine. This is going to be fun. Thank you.